Truth versus lie. Why truth heals and lies destroy. Have you ever chosen to hide the truth because you were afraid of the consequences? Yung tipong alam mong maling itago o alam mong kailangan ng ilantad, pero dahil sa takot, you chose to lie instead of being honest. Welcome to KWENTO ni Lovely Joyce, and this time, with God. I saw this post that says, sorry if you don't like my honesty, but to be fair, I don't like your lies. It really struck me, kasi minsan, we don't realize how dangerous lies are, lalo na kapag pinili natin to out of fear. God reminded me, truth is not just about avoiding lies. It's about courage. Choosing to live aligned with God. At minsan, masakit. Because the truth exposes us. It humbles us, but it also frees us. Narealize ko rin, kapag pinipili natin ang kasinungalingan, we're not just hiding from people. We are definitely hiding from God's light. But when we choose the truth, kahit mahirap, kahit may consequences, God stands with us. My sister in Christ recently posted a verse that made me reflect even more. It says, everyone who does evil hates the light and will not come into the light for fear that their deeds will be exposed. John chapter 3 verse 20. The truth is, hindi tayo lumalapit sa liwanag kasi natatakot tayong mahubaran ng katotohanan at makita ng lahat kung ano ang totoo sa atin. But let me be clear, we don't mean harm. I'm also not claiming that I'm perfect. Malayo ako dun. But I am here to remind you that truth is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to heal you. It's not here to shame you, but to bring you back to God's arms, where real freedom is found. That's why I speak out, because silence sometimes would become agreement to lies. And I don't want my silence to be louder than the truth of God planted in me. The world may not like honesty, but God honors it. And in the end, it's not people's approval that matters. It's God's. When we see through God's lens, we realize this. Lies are often rooted in fear. Fear of rejection, fear of punishment, or fear of losing face. But every time we choose lies over truth, we not only hurt others, we distance ourselves from God, who is truth himself. Lies may feel like protection, pero sa totoo lang, they are chains. They keep us trapped in guilt, in pretending, in shame, and what's worse, they steal the peace that only truth can give. At kahit lang beses mo pang ilibing ang katotohanan, God will always find ways to unbury it. Hanggang mapatanong ka na lang, Lord, bakit ang bigat? Bakit ang sakit? Hindi ko na kaya. And the answer is this, because He's calling you to surrender. Because you will never win against Him, not because He wants to crush you, but because He wants to save you. The more you run, the heavier it gets. The more you hide, the deeper the pain. But the moment you surrender, that's when freedom begins. Because truth is not just words. Truth is Jesus. And every time we walk in truth, we are walking with Him. The enemy wants us to believe that lying is easier, safer, and more convenient. But God says the opposite. The truth will set you free. John chapter 8 verse 32. So, if you feel torn today, remember this. Fear is a prison, but truth is the key. Step into the light, and you'll find out that God's love is bigger than any consequence of the truth. Do you know what makes the Bible so powerful? And that's why I love reading it now, because it's not just filled with lessons, but it teaches us. It's not just about miracles and victories. It's also about lies, mistakes, and failures that God turned into mercy. So today, I'd like to tell you some of the greatest stories of transformation from the Bible. 1. Peter's denial restored in love. Imagine it. The bold disciple Peter, the one who swore we would never leave Jesus, suddenly breaks down in tears. When the pressure came, he denied Jesus not just once, not twice, but thrice. That was the lie. Fear silenced the truth. But after the restoration, Jesus did not throw Peter away. Instead, he asked him 3 times, "Do you love me?" And each question healed the wound of each denial. That's mercy. And from that mercy, Peter rose, no longer the fearful follower, but the fiery preacher at the Pentecost. And his testimony, even the worst betrayal, can be redeemed when confessed to God. 2. Abram and Sarah. Half truth, whole mercy. Picture Abram, worried for his life in foreign land. Twice he said Sarah was his sister. Half true, but still a lie. He thought protecting himself was safer than trusting God. And that was the lie. Fear wrapped in half-truth. Yet God stepped in. He protected Sarah, preserved their marriage, and did not let any human weakness cancel divine promise. That's mercy again. And still, God fulfilled His word. And then, Abram and Sarah became parents of nations. Their testimony, God's mercy is bigger than our half-truth. 3. Jacob the deceiver, Israel the prince. Think of Jacob, dressed in Esau's clothes, fooling his blind father Isaac to steal blessing that was not his. That was the lie. Tricky, driven by desperation. But that lie led to years of exile, pain, and running. Until one night, God met Jacob. They wrestled till dawn. And instead of condemning him, God gave him a new name, Israel. That's mercy again, from deceiver to chosen. Jacob's testimony: God does not leave us in our lies. He transforms us into who He called us to be. 4. Joseph's brothers, from lie to reconciliation. Now imagine Joseph, the young dreamer, sold by his jealous brothers. And to cover it up, they dipped his robe in blood and told their father Jacob, Joseph is dead. That was a lie, a cruel deception born from envy. But years later, the tables turned. Joseph stood as the governor of Egypt, with the power to destroy or to forgive. But instead, he chose mercy. And then he said, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good. And that's mercy. Their testimony, even in our darkest lies. God's plans can still shine, turning betrayal into salvation and hurt into healing. 5. The woman caught in adultery, from shame to grace. A woman dragged into the crowd, accused, shamed, and ready to be stoned. Her life is built on hidden sin, lies, and secrecy. That was the lie, living in shadows, far from God's light. But Jesus stooped down, wrote on the ground, and said, let him who is without sin cast the first stone. One by one, they left. And then mercy spoke, neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more. That's mercy. And her testimony, from shame to grace, from hidden sin to a living story of God's forgiveness. Mga lovelies, did you notice the pattern? Every lie brought pain, but every truth surrendered to God became a story of mercy. So lovelies, let's remember this. Even the smallest truth brings light, but even the smallest lie creates shadow. So choose truth, because truth is love. Truth is freedom. Truth is God. So what is God's message for all of us? He said, listen to this. God values truth because He is truth. Lies may look small, but they open the doors for guilt, shame, and destruction. God is saying, my child, do not let fear silence your honesty. Do not let pride bury your confession. Do not let shame chain you to lie. I already know your truth, and I still love you. Bring your truth to me, and I will bring you freedom. God's message is so clear. Don't let fear push you into lies. Whether it's small things or big things, choose truth. Because every time you speak truth, you honor God. You protect relationships and you keep your heart free. Lies destroys, but truth heals. Through God's lens, truth is not optional. It is life-giving. This is your lovely Joyce reminding you, your kwento is still being written by God. So keep the faith, keep the hope, and keep walking with God. God bless you, mga lovelies!